I believe that love liberates.
Yeah.
I believe that walking in any space to show and receive love, without a doubt, you will be liberated from anything, from any worry, from any imposter syndrome, from
Yeah.
anything. Where there's love,
It liberates.
there's liberation.
Hello, Wisdom and Wellness family. Thank you so much for joining my podcast and for making it the #1 podcast on Apple Podcast. So thank you so much for subscribing, for liking, and for leaving a review. Today is a very exciting conversation. I've been waiting for this conversation since I met her at Amanda Dambuza, who's both she doesn't like to be called mentor. She's our sister friend, mentor, everything.
Yeah.
And I met her at Amanda's event and she spoke her heart out. And her name is Captain Londy Ngcobo. She is a ship navigator and Africa's first female dredge master. She is passionate about unlocking Africa's maritime industry, widely known as the Black Mermaid. And you might have seen her on TED Talk and Forbes Leading Women as she empowers women to dream big. Hi, Bosisi.
Gal.
And I had to cut so much just for your introduction.
So I think at first it was just purely from trying something unique. And when I got to varsity, I realized that it's actually real. There's actual ships, and you're gonna have to say goodbye for months on months.
Had you been on a ship before that?
No, never,
Sure.
never.
Yeah.
Just maybe boats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, fear has something on kids even.
Yeah.
Fear is such a manipulator.
Yeah.
Fear will make you really not see yourself deserving, and it's good to tame that fear every now and again. But from a setup that I grew up in, it was really easy for me to just be like, I'm just finishing this course. We'll see what happens,
Sure.
because I don't think I had as much people, propelling
Yeah.
and putting wind on my sails,
Yeah.
pun intended, and putting wind on my sails. But I think I was fortunate enough with time that when I got on board the ship, I really felt like I belonged there.
What does getting on board look like? How old are you at this time?
I mean, I'm 18 at this time. 18 at this time.
What does that look like? What does the environment look like? Are there people who look like you? Do you have mentors? Do you have someone who says, look, you'll be fine? Or is it the beginning of a lonely journey?
I think coming on board to see this massive, massive thing that you ought to drive.
Yeah.
The first thing was like, they were right. We like, it can't be done.
Ganja.
And then you go up to meet the captain, and they look at you like, oh, what just happened? How can I help you? You are shown your cabin. I mean, you're just young, and you're shown your cabin to wear overalls. The discipline is obviously groomed at an early stage, like any interns.
Yeah.
You will make coffee, you will
Yeah.
scrub toilets, you will,
Yeah.
And South Africa will push us out to say women in STEM, girls in STEM. And then you have that chip on your shoulder to say, I've got maths and science. I did this. I'm going to be a ship captain, only to be humbled in making coffee and scrubbing toilets. So for the first, at least, whole ship, it was just my discipline being groomed to become what I aspired to be.
Yeah.
I think being on board then, I started realizing that it's actually quite cool. The one time I was called up to start steering the ship, and I messed everything up.
How do
my
you mess
gosh.
everything up?
I
A
messed
ship in water
everything up.
and people's things? What do you
I was
mean?
I was kicked off the bridge, because this is the time now I need to prove myself that I can actually do the thing. I've done all the theory, I've done. Kicked off the bridge, and you know what? I still think that's where the defining moment for my career came from. I was kicked off the bridge, and I knew I was going home. But the funny thing is that when I got to my cabin, I needed a coin to call home, and we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in the middle of the ocean. The next harbor, I got off and I called my mom. And she said, Londy mtanam unjan. And it had been a long time since she heard from me. Unjan. And I said, Ma, get right. And I think that was the time where I should have cracked.
Yeah.
That was the time when I should have,
Yeah, yeah.
I said, Ma,
Get right.
Going back on board the ship, standing, you know where Rose from the Titanic stood?
Yes.
Standing there, and the dolphins are chasing the bow of the ship, like you know how dogs chase the cars,
Yeah.
and the fly fish
Yeah.
going over the dolphins, and the beautiful sunrise. Standing there, and I was only thinking of Ariel from The Little Mermaid, because that's what I could identify with. And I said, I'm a black mermaid, though.
Sure.
I'm brown.
Yeah.
So a mermaid cannot live outside the ocean. I went back to see the captain. I said, Captain, have you ever seen a mermaid? Well, I'm the black mermaid. And I cracked him. I had never seen that man smile, but I had cracked him. And everyone started referring to me as the black mermaid on board the ship. I started getting trained.
And this is after you had messed up.
This after I'd messed up. This after I just was so certain that I'm going home. And everyone started referring to me as the black mermaid. And it was just so interesting because then they started seeing me as just a young girl that just, wants to, do better in life. And I think it was a beginning of a very beautiful, beautiful foundation in my career. I look at it now and I wonder if I am preparing my daughter for such, where she would be lonely, where she would have to decide if this feels really enough for her to even say to me, it's not easy, but get right.
Get right, sure.
I question, I'm just winging it. I
We
barely
all
know
are.
what I'm doing.
We all are.
But I often wonder if she was put in my situation at the time, what would drive her to say, man, get right, just because she wants to back up that moment she had in her room with her dearest diary to say.
What do you
I'm a
think
pastor.
actually drove you to say get right, especially because you knew that it's over? You had messed up. Like what did you have to lose?
I wish I knew,
Yeah.
but I also think that seeing my parents suffer at the time, we didn't grow up that financially balanced, I suppose. I think I needed to prove it to myself, to my family, that I can make a name out of ours. And I think I sort of wanted to bring it home, wanted to make them proud.
Yeah.
And having heard what the society was saying, I needed to come back with a few stripes on my shoulders.
Yeah, I love that. Nothing can beat a why. And I think now you ask the question, you wonder what would make your daughter want to stay in a lonely place. And I'm just thinking and reflecting of all amazing people who've done great things. And it's always the why. And our whys are different, but the why.
The silent whispers of the why don't come clear at all.
Yeah.
And they are not meant to be rushed ever. The silent whispers of your why require intention, interest.
Yeah.
They require
Interest.
so much bareness and vulnerability.
Oh,
The silent whispers of your why will come at the least expected moments. But the sad thing is that we fight them often with the noise.
yeah.
And we don't quieten the noise enough to listen to the silent whispers until something big happens to you.
There has to be like
until
a
you
crash.
lose. Exactly.
There always has to be a crash for some reason.
Exactly. For me now, I sit and think, my goodness, did you know that a child or a girl child would say, hello, Black Mermaid.
Hey.
Oh, Sis Londy, I want to be like you. What would have been the answer? I don't think I would have had it until I sort of started realizing, hey, wait a minute. Certain things are starting not to settle with me as a human being. I'm the first now. It's not easy to just be first and enjoy being first. And just, when you know the struggles that are happening in the industry, like there's only 2% of female participation in my industry. How do I sleep at night and enjoy being first in J? You know,
You can't just be first and leave it at
you know,
that.
when the youth still wants to become like me and they're like, wait, but so how do I sleep at night when I have so much opportunities now and I could cultivate that pure love for the ocean?
Do you think the barrier is, do you think there's a barrier to entry because of funds or because of lack of information or just simply fear?
Fear.
Really?
Because we've entertained the black man can't swim. And I say this because I live it still. It's a way. Like I say, way.
Way.
You know, it's there.
Yeah.
And it exists.
Yeah.
And I it's not funny.
What about the opportunities? Are there opportunities? Are there funds for there's a lot of unemployment?
I think that we are just so limited in our thinking. We have a whole economy in the ocean. We have a whole economy in the ocean. The South African unemployment stats is now sitting at what, 35% the last time I checked.
more, yeah.
And it's inclining every single day. The sad thing is that we don't realize we have a whole economy. You know, as I was coming here, I just realized that why would a person who wants to be a makeup artist only look into the land side?
Because of access.
Exactly.
Lack of information.
Lack of information. And
Network. Lack of network.
look at where now I've struggled. I have role modeled my industry. And I have come out with uniform in every single platform to role model my industry. Role modeling my industry means that I will be the Beyonce gay. Because I will show up with that uniform. And when in my industry, you will say, "Ay, ufuna ukubukwa." But that moment when I show up, I am able to hold a sister's hand who's trying to be a ship chandler, which means she's trying to find some footing in her business.
Yeah.
And I would tell her that, Sissy, you can deliver toilet paper on the ships
Yeah.
that come from international waters.
Yeah.
You can deliver food
Yeah.
on the ships
Yeah.
when they call into South
Do
Africa.
makeup, all of those things.
Everything.
Yeah.
You want to be a DJ, you can go and be a full-time DJ
Yeah,
on the cruise
ship.
ships.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be a librarian,
Yeah.
a microbiologist, a person in finance. There's a whole economy.
Funny enough, on in the first year of our marriage, a couple, we had never been on a ship, and a couple, our parents' friends, basically bought us tickets to go on an MSC cruise,
yeah.
right? So it was our first time going on a cruise, and we were still finding our feet, like
Yeah.
career-wise, and then we saw this couple singing on the ship, and we actually had a serious conversation, like, how do we get into this? We could, because we didn't have kids then. We were
course.
like, how do we get careers like on the ship? How do we do this? Because I mean, if you think about it, everything is covered. You get your money in dollars, euros, pounds, whatever, and you save it and you go and you spend it.
Tax-free.
But now my biggest issue is how many people know that. We could have that conversation because someone gifted us that, and that's network.
Yeah.
You could have that conversation, or your eyes could be open because your school came to you. How are we making sure, and I know this is part of your life's work, how are you making sure that you're not only bringing this information, because that's not enough, bring this information and, okay, now that I know I can supply toilet paper, go to Assist Londy, how do I, where do I write down? Who do I talk to? Where do I start?
That's exactly why it's important to protect the flame that God instills in you at all costs. I've had to protect it because I know that I am that voice and my intention is to multiply. I've had to protect this flame so much that I know that through you, in the amazing work that you do, Mpoomy, there are people out there that wish to have the wisdom and the wellness that you offer. Mental issues on board ships. Everything ties up. During hard lockdown, they were stuck. Like, the best time of being a seafarer is a sign-off time. Going home after 6 months, after 3 months, they were stuck for years. after finishing the 6 months, only to be told that the world is shutting down, to only still stay there for the next 6 months. Mental issue, like I'm just making an example
I hear
because
you.
it's here, but the point is to be able to say, I will have to connect with you.
Yeah.
Because I got to a stage where I got tired of waiting for leadership
Yeah.
to create what I think
Yeah.
could be
It's
done.
not going to happen.
I needed to role model the industry. And I think that's where we all get short-sighted in that we can't be the leaders we
Yeah.
ought to see.
Yeah.
Or rather we can lead the change we want to see.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope it was impactful and that you enjoyed it. To check out the full episode, all you have to do is become a Wisdom and Wellness member by clicking the join button. If not, you're more than welcome to catch the full audio version on any of your podcast platforms. Thank you for watching and thank you for being a Wisdom and Wellness member.